Okay, so imagine you're like running through the woods and a tiger is chasing you, right? And you're like, oh, this tiger's gonna eat me. I gotta run really, really fast. And you feel something, oh, hurts my leg, right? Oh, geez, ow, my leg hurts. But hey, can't think about that right now. The only thing my legs can do right now is run. I gotta run away from this tiger that is trying to catch me and eat me. Finally, I evade the tiger. Wow, fantastic. And then I look down and I see, oh, okay, so I scraped against that cactus. Cactuses and tigers don't inhabit the same biomes, but let's go with it. Anyway, you realize that you scraped your leg and you've got these cuts and you're gonna need to clean out those cuts and bandage them lest they get infected. That's not something that you could really worry about a few seconds ago when you were trying to outrun the tiger, but now the tiger is evaded and the correct thing to do is to stop and address the cuts on the leg that you could not address previously. Hi, I'm middle-brow internet cooking sensation Adam Ragusea, and that's the story that I told myself to help myself understand why it was okay for me to stop at this point in my life and get some help, some psychological help that I couldn't or wouldn't previously get. I mean, think about it from my perspective. I was just like a normal, hardworking person like you, and then I kind of got internet famous, and all of my financial problems went away, and therefore a lot of my practical problems went away. Money fixes a whole lot, but it doesn't fix everything, and when I found myself to be not fully fixed, I kind of thought, I sort of need help, but oh, that's just so indulgent, right? God, when I was just a normal working person, I would just work through it, right? Just hike up your big boy pants and get through it. And it just seemed kind of like a spoiled, indulgent rich person thing to kind of now that all of my problems have been solved for me, now to go to a different kind of doctor and get a different kind of help. After all, I made it through much more trying times in my life without the assistance of a mental health professional. Why should I need one now that my life has gotten incredibly easy? Well, there's two obvious responses to that. One is maybe I really could have used a therapist in some of those earlier times of my life and would have been a little bit easier if I had gotten some help earlier. The other thing that you could say is like, look, maybe therapy legitimately wasn't the priority because you were getting chased by that tiger. But fact of the matter is I have now outrun the tiger, and it is incumbent upon me. It is my responsibility to attend for all of the other self-care items that I have neglected in the pursuit. So I'm in therapy now. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how that's been going and try to encourage you to find the help that you need should you need it. And I will do this in front of my two newest fish tanks because, duh. And I'll give you an update on where my little channel stands, right? I've been taking a break from a lot of content as I've been trying to fix myself. And to that end, I have lately been enjoying Headspace, the sponsor of this video. Headspace is your lifelong guide to better mental health. I downloaded the app and it's got all of these guided meditation and mindfulness tools that I use all the time. A lot of my problems have to do with the connection between my brain and my body. I have a lot of feelings that are messed up there, but also just a lot of sensations that are kind of weird. I get a lot of tension in my neck and I'm going through a lot of chronic pain in my head and tongue. I get a tense tongue, kind of weird. So I really like these body scan meditations on Headspace that take you through every single part of your body, make you become aware of it, mindful of it, relax it. It's all evidence-based. There's music and movement programs as well, sleep programs.
As you scan downward, focus your attention on whichever part of the body the light is on.
And if you need it, Headspace can connect you with mental health coaching, therapy, psychiatry. Everybody's got a different mental health or mindfulness routine. There's no wrong way to do it. Find out which way works for you. You can try Headspace right now completely free for 60 days. All you gotta do is sign up with my link in the description or scan that QR code on the screen. And let me know in the comments about what you do for self-care. That's 60 days of Headspace free with my link and code in the description. Thank you, Headspace. So let's talk about my head some more. So one of the reasons that I resisted getting therapy for a long time was that I came from a family of mental health professionals. I sort of speak this language. We spoke it around the dinner table. I figured, what do these people know that I don't already know? I mean, I knew intellectually that therapists know things that I don't know, but just on an intuitive level, I had trouble understanding what someone was going to tell me that I couldn't tell myself. There is, of course, no zealot like a convert, and with the confidence of my therapy newbie gains, I will now tell you what I have learned on both an intellectual and intuitive level, which is that therapy isn't about what another person is going to tell you about yourself. It's about what you can learn about yourself from yourself. It's just having another person there to kind of hold your hand as you walk through the dirty, cobweb-infested hallways of your mind and learn things, look at things that maybe you haven't let yourself look in the face before. And something that I've learned about myself through that process is that I am not nearly as disciplined as I thought that I was. In fact, when it looks like I'm being disciplined, when I'm working really hard, or when I'm like working out really hard, or whatever, it's really the same thing as when I'm doing way too many drugs and alcohol, or when I'm eating way too much. These are my avoidance strategies, right? These are activities to a great extent that I hide in. I focus really, really hard on work so that I cannot look at this terrible personal thing that I just can't look at. And one of the many things that these hiding places have allowed me to avoid is having to confront how uncomfortable or unhappy I am in my momentary existence. That is to say, how I feel in the moment, which is an odd thing to think about, as though you can feel any other way. All we have is the moment, right? But all of us do this, right? We allow ourselves to be contented with our own discontent because we know that we're doing things to make tomorrow better. Tomorrow is going to be a brighter day because I went to work and worked really hard today, or because I did my run today, or because I took a handful of pills and that's going to make me feel better in about an hour, right? The belief that tomorrow, the next moment, will be better than it is now gets us through the crappy moment that we're having right now. It's not surprising that enjoyment deferred, pleasure deferred, is like a big theme of most of the world's major faith traditions and philosophical traditions. And that's for a lot of reasons. You really do have to defer a lot of enjoyment in order to build for yourself a happier, more secure, more stable future. But the other thing about doing that is that it gives you an excuse to not be happy in the moment. And I think this is where a lot of avarice is driven from, a lot of money-making behavior. It's people making money because they can't make themselves happy. And at least the money is this thing that you can put a number on. You can quantify how much of it you've gotten. And you can theoretically, reasonably believe that getting money will make you happier tomorrow, maybe, because money does help make you happy up to a point. We have a whole video about that in the description. And this is maybe a little bit more of a rarefied experience that I've had that I can share with you, which is that when you get yourself into a situation where you've outrun all the tigers, right, where there's nothing that you can do that you haven't already done in order to ensure a bright future for yourself and your family, then you kind of sit and you think, well, what do I do now? Where do I derive my moment-to-moment satisfaction if I've done all of the planting of seeds that I could possibly do? Well, if you're not happy in your life, if you're not enjoying the moment, then there's some things that you could do. You could try to compensate with pleasuring yourself, which could be the obvious thing, or it could be less obvious things like, you know, having hobbies like building elaborate fish tanks in your greenhouse, or eating food, or taking substances, or doing fun things with your friends and family, right? Activities, things that people do for fun. My problem is that I found that like a lot of those things don't make me as happy as I knew that they didn't make me that happy all along. Usually didn't make me that happy. In fact, when I got internet successful with food content, part of me thought, ooh, this is not so good, because it's kind of like an alcoholic getting successful in the bar business. Many, many seasons of sitcomedy could be had with that premise. So when eating, drinking, and being merry doesn't actually make you that merry, then what are you left with? Well, you figure, well, okay, maybe what I can do is just concentrate on making other people happy. And in fact, I now have come to understand through therapy that a lot of my behavior of trying and working really hard to make other people happy through relationships or through a career of service in nonprofit journalism, which is what I did before for really idealistic reasons, believe it or not. Well, I figured that that would be good because that would at least make somebody else happy, right? I might not be having a great time here, but at least I'm making somebody else happy, or I'm building goodwill in the world, something. So if I'm not going to focus on my own enjoyment, what could I do instead to make the world a better place? Well, sadly, the conclusion that I come to is it's this. It's like, make videos, because what's really special about me compared to other members of this species is that I have the ability to make more money in less time than most other people, right? So if I want to help other people, honest to God, the best thing I could do would be to just keep crapping out videos, make money, give it away, you know? Problem is, I just really don't want to do that in a number of ways. Like, I kind of don't really want to keep making very many videos, honestly, y'all. This is for a lot of reasons. One is simply just that I've gotten all the attention I think I ever want from my life. I wanted some attention early on in my life. I mean, sure, one of the reasons I went into media careers is that I liked when people pay attention to me, but not that much. I'm not a narcissist, and yeah, all of the eyeballs on me, I have had all that I need for a lifetime. And if I'm not going to try to make a lot of money to give away, then what am I making money for? Well, at this point, it's kind of greed if I really go hard for it. I mean, I'm not Mr. Beast, but like, yeah, I could stop working entirely right now, and if I was careful with my passive income streams and careful with spending, and if the kids go to a state school, then yeah, I could probably make it through the rest of my life without doing any more work for pay. But that assumes nothing catastrophic will go wrong, and that is a big, big assumption. So I think it's appropriate for me to work a couple of days a week for money going forward, but really no more than that. And for those reasons, I now consider myself semi-retired, which feel free to hate me for that. You probably deserve to hate me for that, but you know, what's the alternative? It's working out of habit or working out of obligation. One thing that I struggle with is the people that came here with me, like my agent, Colin, who helped me get a lot of the sponsorships that have just made my security and my new life and all of the content that I've made for you possible. And I feel a great debt of gratitude to Colin, and I owe him a lot, and I feel that obligation to kind of keep working just to keep making Colin money and keep making money for my accountant and all of the other people that have sort of come along on this journey with me. But I know they're all grown-up professionals. They have many clients other than me. They don't need me. I can just let myself off the hook there. But I do now feel that I understand like crazy rich famous people who are like weirdly attached to people in their inner circle. It's obligation, you know, because they went there with them. The Adam Ragusea podcast. Thank you so much, all of you who subscribed to that and were watching it and listening to it, and then I just stopped making it one day. Well, here's the story about that. The truth is that I always felt a little bit weird about having gotten internet famous as a food content creator. I'm not that into food, and I fancied myself a little bit too smart for that stuff, and that's something that I'm rather ashamed to admit to you because I think that implicitly insults all of the very smart people that make food content on the internet who are not me. But anywho, I think part of the motivation for doing the podcast was just to kind of prove to the world that I was a smart guy who can unspool 60-minute long crafted arguments on all manner of topics. And honestly, I think the show came out pretty good and a lot of people seemed to like it, but it was absolutely killing me. It was really, really draining me. Which seems crazy when you think about it, because it's just like, you know, I used to work 60 hours a week, no problem. You probably work a job and a half and you deal with it, right? But for me, it's not about the hours. It was about like the brain drain. It was about the incredible neurological effort that writing those episodes represented for me. I was just left feeling like a fully squeezed tube of toothpaste at the end. I'd had more energy in me. I could have totally like laid brick for 20 more hours that week, but I could not write or do any creative content anymore that week because I had squeezed all the toothpaste out. So around the time that I had my big crisis, I just stopped. I just had to stop. And I will tell you, I've felt a lot better. So the podcast may come back at some point, it may come back as something a little bit different. I'd like to make a show with Lauren, my wife. If I can convince her to do that, then we might do that. But I want to do that because I think it would be good and because it would be fun, a thing that would sort of make a date for us once a week where we could talk to each other and laugh and touch base a little bit. Maybe not with Lauren, maybe with some of my friends. We'll see. And you may be thinking, oh, but that's not what I want out of an Adam Ragusea show, right? Well, yeah, that's a perfectly legitimate thought for you to have, but a perfectly legitimate thought for me to have is that there's no reason for me to make things that I don't want to make, right? So going forward, my guiding light is more so going to be, what do I want to do for fun? Who do I want to talk to? What friends do I want to have weekly hangs with? What will make me happy? And if you don't want to watch all of my weird fish tank videos or whatever, fully understand. However, I am going to keep posting things to my main channel. I figure the channel is just called Adam Ragusea. It's Adam Ragusea videos. It's whatever I'm doing. If I'm gonna make a video about it, it's gonna go there. If you wanna watch it, watch it. If you don't, don't. Some people are gonna complain. They're gonna be like, oh, you're junking up my feed with all this stuff that I don't want. Well, we all need to get over that very entitled attitude that we have about all kinds of things nowadays, don't we? But the other thing to keep in mind is that, you know, if I really wanted to like sell out and really do something that really disregarded all that you have given me through your viewership over the years, well, what I could do is I could just like sell my channel to the highest bidder and they would put whatever they want on it. And I can make a lot of money that way. I'm not gonna do that unless I have some kind of like family emergency that necessitates it. So I think that you can handle me posting some fish videos from time to time. That's a fair compromise, right? Hey, and if it's not, you can just smash that unsubscribe button. But going forward, here are the things that I want you to know about me. Adam Ragusea is semi-retired. He's still working for money like 2.5 days a week, but that's about it. And he doesn't really want to get more popular. So if you've got ideas about like shows I could do or things that I could do that would get more people to pay attention to me, I really want to do the exact opposite of that. So no. I need to focus on figuring out a way to live in myself, live in my body that is sustainable and pleasurable enough that there is a point to my existence beyond service to others. That makes it sound a lot more dire than it actually is, but you know. I have a tremendous amount of guilt about the fact that I have the time and the space to try to work on these things with professional help that I am fortunate enough to be able to afford in this garbage healthcare system that we have in the United States that does not fund mental health care at all sufficiently. I'm very lucky that I'm no longer trying to outrun the tigers of economic and social failure, right? That were chasing me all those years and I had to run like the Dickens to try to get away from, to try to make something of myself. I'm very lucky that I was able to outrun those tigers and now I can finally tend to the scratches on my leg. Maybe I should have tended to them many, many miles ago. Maybe that tiger wasn't as close to me as I thought it was. And the fact that you are perhaps still being pursued by a tiger is not a reason for me to not tend to my own wounds. It is a reason for me to tend to my own issues and then to try to help you outrun your tiger. And we'll talk about that some other time. Or maybe we won't. Maybe I'll just keep making goofy food videos once a week. We'll see. But I'm going to try to listen to myself about what I want to do going forward. If you want to come along with me, that's awesome. If you want to get off here, totally understand. We've had a great ride. I wish you well. But for now, I'm just going to find peace in my fish.